And welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your host, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Daniel, good afternoon.
How's it going?
My allergies, once again, if you heard last week's episode, my voice was a little questionable. It's going to continue this week, for sure.
Yeah, I hear you. Mine's going to be the same way. My allergies, and what sucks about it is you work inside and your allergies are bad. I work mostly outside.
Yep.
Luckily, it wasn't like too bad of a day, so right when I was coming home is when the wind was kicking in.
Right. Yeah, it's strange here. We've talked about this in previous podcasts, but it's interesting how it goes from, it was a lovely day at about noon.
Yeah.
I was sitting outside, eating lunch, waiting for the local comic shop to open up where I was going to demo a game, and I was hanging out, eating my lunch, and it was absolutely gorgeous out. And then I went in there for 2 hours and looked outside, and everybody was like, whoa, what happened? Just wall of dust.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's what we do here.
Yeah, it was something else. Well, I was doing my job. I was out in my truck, I'm getting a fridge ready to take into the house.
Yeah.
And gorgeous day. Beautiful. I'm like, this is nice. I'm liking this. It's gonna get stupid hot in a couple months or in a couple weeks.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, I'm enjoying it. We go in, do all we had to do inside the house, come out, and practically everything's trying to be blown away, and I'm trying to put everything shove into the truck before they blow all the trash and garbage get blown away. It was ridiculous. Yeah. I was in the house maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, and I mean, it kind of looked like something was coming around over the a mountain, because you could see like the darkness and then it just creeping. But oh man, it was disgusting. It hits. Yeah.
It's one of those things where if you're not from the area, you don't normally believe it. Like, you've seen pictures of it. It's called a haboob, Haboob. And if you've not seen it, it's basically just a giant wall of dust. Imagine, like, if you've seen, like, the edge of a hurricane in, like, some of those pictures. It's kind of like that, except completely dry. And it's insanity. Like, when it hits you, that is technically our only natural disaster that we have to worry about. Because it's consistent. We can have 50, 60 mile per hour winds.
Yeah. The only major other one we get is flash floods. It's like when we get rainy seasons, it's dangerous to be out like near the arroyos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In fact, in my neighborhood, if you just go up the street, you can see where the sinkhole was from the last...
Oh, yeah. I believe it. No, it's interesting. It's definitely a world like any others, but every area has
the joy of the desert.
The choice of the desert. I'll take it still. Our allergies are terrible right now, and I feel gross, but I'll still take it over like risk of hurricane and tornado. That's just me. Maybe I'm being a coward about it, but I'd much rather have this.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. We'll get like some of the wind. I'm fine with the hurricane force winds.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's like when I say hurricane force winds, it's like a category 1. Yeah, we've only hit like 80 miles an hour a few times.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Earthquake and a tsunami. No, thank you.
Ooh. No, that's scary. That's some scary stuff. I mean, that's a wall of water. What dust you can brush off, water not so much.
Yeah, except for you get that nasty chap lips from the wind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about this episode. This episode is an interesting one. We did this last year, and there's a reason we did it last year. And we're just reviewing all of the games that we played over the past year, and we wanted to talk about some of like the new ones that we played and which ones we were really excited about. We're going into our third year when this episode airs.
I do want to add a caveat. When we say new games, we're not talking about like the cult of the new kind of stuff. So it's not on my list, but if there is a newer game, and there is one that's been out for a couple years that I finally got to play that made my list. It's new to us that we've played.
Yeah. One of mine is at least 10 years old, absolutely. But it's brand new to me.
Yeah.
And it's ones that for the first time, or maybe for the second if it's that really old one, or one that I played many, many years ago and I finally got a copy and played it and appreciated it. That's an example of some of those.
Yeah.
And Illuminous brought up my favorite game recently is That Time You Killed Me. Very good choice. I don't know.
You forgot about it, didn't you?
No, I thought about it. Yeah, it's not on my list, but yeah, that's very good
We'll also give a couple shout-outs to games before we start, because we actually were talking about it before we were starting when we were going through the list. Okay, am I going to make, if this is going to be my list, am I happy with it? So we're going like what we've played in the last year, because we're nerds, we keep statistics of it.
Absolutely.
And so we were going through it, and it's like, we have played a lot of games in the last year compared to 2020.
That's right. In fact, let's look at how many games I actually ended up playing last year. And now, granted, a lot of these aren't new games, but as of right now, the last 365 days, I played 538 games. 319 of those were unique. So almost a whole game a day that I had never played before in the past year. And in 21 locations, 230 new games to me, at least since I've been tracking on the app, and played with 57 different players.
So I am setting something up for I can actually check the stats from now to today.
Okay. Now, as a caveat, if you're watching us do this live, like our friend Illuminous, you know that we are filming this in February.
Yeah.
And that's just because we're trying to get ahead of the game because we're going to a convention.
We're going to take a bit of a break because we have a convention. Actually, I think we only are going to record one more episode before we go to that next week.
Exactly. So we're going to be filming one more episode. And so if you're watching this as the recordings, watch it later, which means we should talk about something real quick. We ran a contest that closed out last week.
Yeah.
Now, it closed out as far as the Twitch side goes.
Yes.
We say that because if you're listening to the recordings, the last episode was going to go out on March 11th. Yeah, Friday, March 11th is when that episode is going to come out. And if you're hearing this as a recording when this episode comes out, then it has closed already.
Yes.
So if you're watching us live or have found this episode on
like on
Twitch
YouTube or
Twitch,
YouTube,
by all means, you have until March 11th, which is about a month away, to enter that contest. Listen to the episodes. We explain how to do it. But anybody who's listening to that, we're going to take a few weeks, of course, to announce the winner.
So we probably
have this ready.
Won't announce the winner till after the 19th of March, because that's when we get back from Gamma. So we may announce it when we start up the recording again, which would be somewhere in the end of March when we can announce the winner and stuff like that. We may do the drawing ahead of time, but we won't announce the winner. And
That's
right.
There we go. Yeah, it's for this game right here, Horrified American Monsters, sealed copy, courtesy of my co-host here, Daniel. That's your copy.
No. That's the winner's copy, because my copy is right there.
Yeah, but that is your copy right now, and soon to be another lucky fan.
Yeah, so just again, if you're hearing this on the podcast side, the contest is closed. If you're watching this live or you find the videos before March 11th, you still have a chance to enter. Just go find where they are. You can find the uploads on YouTube. They're going all the way to the 11th. You can find the backlog videos on Twitch, as well as the audio side once they go up too.
That's right. Cool. So we should talk about this. Normally what we do is we go on to the Board Game Revolution forum on Facebook and post a question. This is one of our Chits and Giggles episodes. But, that's a little different because we're talking objectively what games we enjoyed. Played.
Yeah.
And so we could have done this in two different ways. We could simply ask the question that everybody else has asked. Hey, what games do you like from the past year? And everyone will list their favorite games, which is fine.
Yeah.
By all means do that. Or we could have asked them, hey, what are your favorite games that we played over the last year? Which, why would they know that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we talk about games we played, but honestly, even when we do what we've been playing, we only talk about 4 games, and we only record this part of the podcast every other week.
Yes,
so,
and we've definitely played more than 4 games in the past 2 weeks. So
sure of it. Just going into my statistics that I set up, I had played 257 different plays within the last year.
Wow.
From January 1st, 2021.
That's almost half of what... No, I'm just kidding. It's not a competition.
I gotta fix that because it's like January 1st and I won it from March.
Oh, I see. So it's gonna be even fewer?
Yeah.
This is awkward.
Let's see how much fewer it is. Cause
probably not as fewer as I'm giving you guff for. It's probably still going to be over 200, I imagine.
Yeah, it's 213 plays of
Yep.
121 different games.
Yep.
In seven different locations with 16 different players, and 97 of them were new to me.
Wow, that's most of them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's half, but that's still a significant amount. Wow. Okay, well, this will be fun to talk about.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I got some good games, but before we get started, what have you been playing?
Oh, let me tell you, it's not like I had it prepared. So, I played 4 games I really want to talk about over the past 2 weeks. One of which was a game that I had played many years ago at a board game cafe. It's one of the few that I convinced my wife to play, and it's a very interesting dexterity game. I finally got it to the table with one of my game groups,
Okay.
and it is absolutely as ridiculous as I remember it. We were all tired because we played like 4 or 5 games that night, and we're like, yeah, let's just play something, I don't know, 10 minutes long. Cool, I have a game for that. It's called Hamster Roll.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, have you heard of this one?
No, but I've seen it because I was there when you bought it.
Yes. So Hamster Roll, the way it works is there's this big wooden wheel, and there's a number of wooden like little platforms that are glued inside of it. And the idea is you start by putting a single cone in the center of it, and you all agree on which direction it's going to roll. Because on your turn, you take one of your pieces. Everybody has the same kind of pieces, but mostly they're either rectangular or cylindrical pieces of different sizes and shapes and weights, of course. And you can choose to either put it on... It always has to be the farthest piece ahead. So you can put it in either the same section that the last piece was placed, or the next one, or two past the where it was last placed. So you have upwards to those 3 spots. So if you wanted, you could rest it on the platform, or you could put it really similar there. Because once it rolls, once you place your piece, any pieces that fall off of the wheel become yours, and you're trying to get rid of all your pieces, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And when we played it, I put a piece down, and a big piece fell down onto another part of the platform and never touched the table, which we checked the rules again. It's only if it touches the table does it count. So that was really lucky, but oh my goodness, I was so happy that I didn't have to take those pieces. I took, like, the second game we played, there was one spot where, like, 15 pieces all fell off. I'm like, well, I'm out. I'll just put those all over here. You guys have fun. But it's such a good dexterity game. I was talking to Ithri, a friend of the podcast, and he got very upset. And he was like, every time I watch your podcast, behind your head, I always see Space Invaders. He was like, every time you move your head, I see that awful game. I was like, it's not. I was like, you're just not a fan of dexterity. He was like, no, Hamster Roll is in my top 10. I was like, okay. All right, fair. That's very fair. But Space Invaders is still amazing, and Hamster Roll is even more fun. So, yeah.
Space Invaders is a great game. I don't know what his problem is.
Well,
I think it's because it's a lot of luck.
It is. There is a lot of luck. Yeah, there is a lot of luck.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. All right, we're going to try to roll with this. I know there's going to be a little technical difficulties. Hopefully it doesn't show up on the recording side. So my first game playing is probably my biggest disappointment for me.
Ooh.
And this is a Prospero Hall game. I really, really love Prospero Hall games. I really, really enjoy them. But this one hurt me a little. And this is Cairo. I don't know if it's because it's a 2-player game. Oh, I know what it is. So let's start with the positive of this game.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. The art is amazing on it. The production value is through the roof for a 2-player game. The dice are really nice. Tokens are really nice. The cards are really nice. The freaking timers are amazing. They're little trucks with sand dials in them. Great. But this game is like super lucky. It's all about dice rolls, speed dice rolls, because you don't want to run out of time or you lose everything. It's a push your luck aspect of it. It's so lucky. And there's a distinct first player advantage in this game. The person who can go first, if they can get the right combos. And some of the cards that come up are really simple to get. So when I was playing with a buddy of mine, he got the ones that added extra dice to his roll, like right then and there, and he was the first player. I didn't get the chance to even attempt to get like the red die or the blue die to help me in the game. So now I'm rolling 5 die unless I want to spend fuel to get those said dice to help me. And the one time I did it, all fires, and fires are the ones that you have to keep because if you because you're going to burn cards, so it's important for you to do stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, well, this die is useless to me because I can't do it. And then later in the game, I finally got a token that allows me to re-roll all the fire die.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help me when I'm already getting my butt handed to me because it's also got a little area control into it. Well, if you can't get your characters into your area control because you only have 5 dice to get the stuff you need, well, I'm going to lose those points. And I'm trying to get certain things to help me out. It's luck upon luck upon luck. And I wanted to like this. But if you like it, good for you guys, because I know he liked it, and I know you okay with it.
Yeah, I liked
but
it
it's just, there's no mitigation of the luck. My first roll, I had 6 die. I rolled 4 fire.
Yeah.
And that leaves me a total of 2 dice left to roll to try to get stuff to buy on the board. And if I only got 2 dice, it just depends on what combo I come up with because everything needs a combination of something. There's very few cards that only cost you 1 resource or something like that. So it hurt. I get it. If people want it, have at it. But this is not something I'm going to add to my collection. And that's saying something because I collect a lot of the Prospero Hall games.
Yeah, I'm sad that you had such a bad experience with it. I think when I first played it, the person who I played with, I think, had a similar outlook onto it. Like, he didn't hate it, but I don't think he was the biggest fan of it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate it a 5. It was average at best.
At best. Well, yeah, sorry to hear. Speaking of Prospero Hall, though, my number 3 that I'm going to talk about is this guy right here, Trapper Keeper, the game.
Show and tell. It wouldn't be an anniversary episode if you don't do a show and tell.
I brought it just in case you wanted to try it later. No, but Trapper Keeper, this is one that you even told me that you're interested in trying. Mm-hmm. And out of all the Prospero Halls, I'm not going to lie, this is one that I was the least interested in because I don't know what happened, but everyone my same age that I've talked to, they all fondly remember the Trapper Keepers. I don't remember them existing. I never had a Trapper. I had a zip binder that was transparent. I could put pictures in it, sure. But I never had... I never knew what a Trapper Keeper was.
My Trapper Keeper was like my favorite thing when we got for school.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone... Yeah. It must have skipped me somehow.
I'm only a few years older than you, and I remember Trapper Keeper. And I loved it.
And people younger than me still remember it, too.
Yeah.
My wife loves the idea. Everyone who I know who's our generation fondly remembers Trapper Keepers. I just somehow didn't know. Like, they just didn't exist in my radar. And so, but I tried the game. And the idea of the game is pretty straightforward. You have a 3x3 grid. Each of those cards in the grid has a stack of 9 cards, okay? There's a bunch of different styles of papers that you're putting into your binder. Everyone has their own little paper Mead brand little folders, which is the actual branding of like the paper folders that we normally get. You know?
Yeah.
It's an actual Mead brand folder, and you're collecting these papers and putting it in your binder. And so on your turn, you're going to collect up to 3 papers. And so you flip over a card, locker card, and it tells you in what pattern you can get it. So it might have like a little Z like figure, you know, and you can get anything that is in that pattern, either by left or right. If it's like straight diagonal, you can go, from top left to bottom right.
Yeah.
You just have to keep the orientation, but you can choose any of the rows that qualify for that.
Okay.
And so you take up to 3 papers. Now, the reason they matter is like you might have a detention slip. You know, whoever has the most detention slips, I believe, will get 2 points per slip, only if you have the fewest. And so it's like that's already an interesting scoring mechanism. There are field trip forms where you are going to get 4 points, but you must have a signature, which is not worth anything on its own. But if you have a signature, it does that. But signatures can also be applied to report cards, which you are going to get 1 point per report card, 1 point for every homework card you also have. Which homework is a majority thing. So normally they don't score by themselves, but whoever collects the most homework, and it's the most prominent card in the game, will get, I think, 6 points, and then 3, then 0 from there on out for majorities. Then you have secret notes from 4 different people. There's like Pharaoh, Archer, Lily, and somebody else. And you have to get different sets of them. The more variety of notes that you've gotten passed from different characters, the more they're worth as a set. It's really neat. Honestly, I had so much fun with this. Out of all of the games we played that night, and we played probably about 6 or 7 that Friday night, our mutual friend Jim, who's appeared on the podcast, he said that was his favorite game. Hands down. He was like, I would gladly play that again. And I didn't even think he liked it that much. But when we played it, oh man.
I heard it's really smart.
It was nifty. I like the different scoring styles that they have. Everything that it works, it just gets better and better. The art and the style. Oh, and I didn't say, there are doodles on each of these pages.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah. And you also score majorities for each of the doodles. But when you take the cards, you have to put all 1 to 3 cards in either the left side or the right side of your folder, which it will only score some of the symbols. So if I pick it up, I'm like, there's smiley faces on this, but there's tic-tac-toes on this side. Which ones do I want? Well, I kind of want tic-tac-toes, so I'll put it in my left side. So I'll score just those at the end of the game. That was cool. Like, how each card has basically 3 different options to choose from. That's neat.
I'm glad you liked it. I do want to dig it. I don't know if I'll be able to play it tonight because I still got to eat dinner after we record this.
Oh, sure, yeah. That's fine.
But bring it Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. More than likely, we still can play. Other than I had to cancel last week just because the wife wasn't feeling well. Sure. It was a long day at work and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. But if you so happen to eat and we still have time, we can bust it out right now.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to get him to play Rising Sun, but it's kind of like everybody wants to play. Oh, and we're gonna have the full contingent, so we could probably play one of our legacy games. Yeah,
very good.
So my next game. Now that the disappointment's over, let's talk about games I really enjoyed. The next one I'm going to talk about is one that you actually showed us, and I liked it more than our 2 mutual friends. I know one did not like it.
One really didn't like it at all.
Yeah, one was okay with it. The other one did not like it.
Normally, it's like if you do really badly in a game and it wasn't by like any strategy you have, then that's an understandable reason for not liking it. He won. I did awful, and I really like this game.
Yeah, I did. I didn't do all that great. I enjoyed this. The game we're talking about is Let's Summon Demons.
Yep.
It was... it's basically a tongue-in-cheek Machikoro space kind of clone. You roll some dice, you do some actions, you pay for souls, to summon demons.
Yeah.
It's got some hilarious artwork. I really enjoyed it. I actually want to pick me up a copy of this. I had a good time with it. Now, it's not for everybody. It's very lucky as compared to Cairo. Yes. It's not as lucky because there's things that you can do to mitigate stuff. Yeah. You always start with something so it can give you like equipment. So like if you have like a candle, you could still get something on everybody's roll.
Yep.
The demons only trigger on your roll. Yeah, it's a nice retro feel. I really, really enjoyed this one. Had a great time with them. I like this one more than I like Let's Dig for Treasure.
Yes.
I agree. Let's Dig for Treasure is a phenomenal game as well. Not highly rated for I think it was I give it a 6 maybe.
Yeah.
But it's fun, passable. In fact, I may drop Cairo down to 4 if I'm going to go that rate but this one, easily a 7. I could just bust this out to play it. I have a great time with it. I love the fact that it's like coaster style cards. So that's something different as well, because I only know one other game that has like coaster cards, and that's Skull.
Yep.
I haven't played it. But Let's Summon Demons.
I finally played it.
I really, really enjoyed this one. I like that Machikoro or space rolling, get something, build your engine, and I love the tongue-in-cheek comedy of it because it reminds me of like those old school games like the Zombies Ate My Neighbor.
Right.
Exactly.
And yeah, it can be a bit demented. We by no means encourage this for anybody who is like, heavily religious or offended by stuff like this. Like if you can watch Evil Dead and laugh during it because of just how off the wall it is, then this is your kind of humor.
Acting, yeah. And
if you're not comfortable with stuff like that, like
honestly,
then this
for me,
isn't the game for you.
I can call it's like a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. So it's like a farcical horror spoof. Right. So you look at it, say like something like Shaun of the Dead or that stuff. It's like in that kind of category, which is just a comedy with a little horror aspect to it.
Yes, agreed. Cool. All right, my next one that I played was a game that I bought on a whim. I bought it because the art... On a whim. The art was amazing on it. And I remember seeing it a few years ago at a local convention. or not a local convention. I went to, it's very not local, Origins. Me and my friend went there, and it was from a company I hadn't heard much from. I mean, I knew of some of their games, but I saw this, and I thought, wow, that is absolutely one of the most gorgeous games I've seen as far as the art goes. And so when we found it at Bookman's a few weeks ago, I picked it up because I was like, okay, the art is really nice. Seems like this company has some decent work. Let's just try it.
Okay.
And I brought it home. The only reason it's not on my favorite games played of last year is because it's on my what I've played right now.
And then also because you played it before.
No.
Because didn't you say you played it in Origins?
This is Inuit.
Inuit
the Snowfolk.
Yeah.
Or the Snowfolk people, I believe, is what it is. It is fantastic. This is just one of the neatest games I've played in a really long time. You would adore this game. I strongly feel that. Because you have this long board, you have a number of actions. Each spot is a different action you could take. And it's really simple. If you choose the whaler, you take an orca whale. If you do the bear trapper, you take a bear. If you do the seal, take a seal.
You club a seal?
Right. Yeah, club a seal. If you scout, that means you can pull out more cards. Because at the beginning of your turn, you flip over one card into the Great White, which is the available cards. And then, if you want, you can scout again. Simple as that. If you're a warrior, if you do the warrior action, you take a character card from one of the tribes, and you put it face down. It's just worth a point. Bears are worth 4, orcas are 3, and 2 points for the seals. And so you're just scoring points in different ways. Now it sounds boring, right? You just take some cards, whatever. What makes it amazing is there's 2 other spots. One is the Elder, where you take tribesmen, either adults, which are guaranteed towards one of the 4 tribes, which is the 4 player colors, and you can put them below your board. And that is effectively a multiplier. Meaning, if I use my Elder action, take an adult, and put it under the whalers.
Okay. Every
turn I want, I could take up to 2 whalers because I have the automatic one and I have the second one. If I put 2 of those under the warriors, on my turn I could take 3 of the tribesfolk and put them face down.
Oh man.
Yeah. If I put some under the Elder, that means I get to recruit more people for my tribe on the next turn. Automatically. You see where this is going.
Yeah,
it is like absolutely designed where you're pulling 6 cards at a time. You're like, wow, like this just worked out for me. I'll scout 4 times. That leaves 5 bears. Let's just take all of those, And what's neat is that if you take, and so the children are from 2 different tribes at a time. So if I say purple and orange, and I normally play as the orange player in this game. And so, for example, if you were purple in this game, if I took this, it would be worth points for me. But if, let's say, somebody else took it, if you took it, for example, the orange and purple, well, I'm still going to get a point for every orange symbol on anybody's board.
Okay.
So you're scoring if your symbol is on the tribes, which is fine. But then there's also spirits and rights. Spirits are endgame scoring. It'll say like a bonus point for every seal you have, or a bonus point for every warrior you have, etc. And then there's rights, which are immediate effects. It's like everybody who has more game, one of the animals, than you, discards 2 of their game. Oh my god. I can't tell you enough how satisfying this game is. It works so well. The art is on point. This is honestly giving some of my games on this list even a real big run for its money.
Nice. And since you recently played it beforehand, we can actually count this for next year.
Absolutely. It was absolutely fantastic. And I am going to continue playing it.
Oh, nice.
It's so good. It's rare that I get the craving to play a game after I've played it. But I've already played this game twice in the past 2 weeks, and I want to play it again. It's really good. It's so satisfying how it works. So anyway, that's enough of that. That's Inuit, the Snowfolk.
Nice. So my next game on my list is a game that I've been hearing a lot about, and I want to try it because I like roll and writes. I really enjoy them. And everybody keeps talking about this. Mainly Z Garcia is the one that pushes this one a lot. And I found a copy of it on that same Bookman's trip. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger and grab this one. And that is Saint Malo. And I have to say, I really dig that game for like a city building game. That's a roll and write, and just like the different like, okay, I need to make sure I build up my walls because it's going to help me defense because you keep popping the freaking pirates to go off.
I really did. Oh my god, I rolled so many pirate dice on that.
So I was like, okay, I need to save these because I need to get my my shields and everything to start negating all the pirates that are coming out, because if you lose cannons, that's negative points. And because of you rolling the pirate dices, you ended up winning because I lost 3 cannons and lost 15 points.
Yeah. I didn't cause the destruction, but I definitely invited it into the town.
But I like the fact that you do a Yahtzee style game where you're rolling it 3 times and trying to get combos. But what I like about it is that you can only get one choice. So even if you roll combos of things, so you say you roll 2 of these, and 1 other die. You got to choose, are you going to go with the 2 citizens, or are you going to go with the 2 walls to build up your walls and stuff like that? Because, yeah, you're not going to get any points if you build up your walls right then and there. But maybe once you complete a line of walls, you're going to get a reward. Mm-hmm. So that could be handy. Or do I take the lumber because I can use the lumber for something later in the round? I'm not going to get points right now, but that lumber can get me more points later on. So it makes a lot of smart choices, because not only do you got to take something effectively for right now, but you're setting yourself up for future possibilities. And I dig that with this one, especially for a roll and write. I do have a complaint, mind you, because mine's an old copy. The dry erase markers were just soaking into those player boards.
Well, they weren't dry erase. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They were erasable markers. They weren't dry erase. They weren't supposed. As it dried up, it disappeared. Like disappearing ink markers.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I want to play it again. I want to play with a bigger player count just to see how much shenanigans go in there, especially with the pirates popping off all the time and you're not getting your walls defended. So yeah, no, but my next what I played was Saint Malo.
Very good. And answer the question by Punchawook. This week our topic is the best games that we've played over the past year, which this is the ending of our 2-year anniversary, our 2nd year of running this podcast. So we thought we would review that.
Yeah, and we got one more anniversary episode for the 2nd year, which will be next week, and that's going to be an interesting one. We'll talk about it a little later.
That's right. So my last one I wanted to talk about that I've been playing was it's basically Dominion, and it's basically Agricola, and it's basically Through the Ages. I played Copycat, where the idea of this game is very simple. Copycat is by Freedom and Freeze, which we all know as the Mad Scientist, a board game. Which
out
really
of design, publishing designs, is good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he comes up with definitely different concepts. And say what you will, I know a lot of them are misses for you, but he's one of the few people that are willing to try something new, and that I appreciate. And so the original title, the reason it's called Copycat is because you couldn't translate it. A lot of his titles tend to start with F. Yeah. But the original saying in Germany roughly translates to adorn oneself with another person's feathers. So basically to make yourself sound awesome by the accomplishments of other people.
Yeah.
And it's a political game where you are running for president or running for political office, and you are using these adornments from other politicians, and you're trying to gain the most points by doing so. But the reason it's also called Copycat and why that it's not just the theme or the storyline of what you're playing. He literally took parts of other people's games and combined them into one cohesive game. It sounds like it would be a mess, honestly.
Yeah. But
he has deck building like in Dominion. He has worker placement spots like in Agricola. He has other different things that happen. Like I believe the card river that he has is like Through the Ages. In how it works. Oh man, this game is awesome. He took really great parts of all of these games and combined them in a really satisfying way. By the end of the game, we were consistently getting 20 points a turn. just by able to put out the workers, by our deck combinations, by the way everything flows together, it works really well. So some of the quick things, if you don't know Dominion deck building, basically you all start with the same deck, and you're building up from there. That's not that interesting. A lot of the cards you can use during different phases. Like you could either play it to put out more workers, draw more cards, get money to buy better cards, etc. But in order to buy cards, you have to put out a worker to buy cards, which is some of the worker spots. Every round, you get a new spot, which this is the Agricola worker mechanism. Every round, it adds one more location that gets increasingly better and better throughout the game. And so, of course, only one person can go there. However, at the end of the round, during cleanup, any spots where nobody went to gets a victory point token added to it, thus increasing the value of everything that's on the board that wasn't used prior. So you might be able to stock up on some victory points, which was a very fair strategy. And then the card row, the first 4 spots don't have any increase of value, but the deck is set up in a way where it's like phase 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5.
Okay.
And so those get increasingly better. No. They get increasingly better with the cards, but they're a little pricier. But the earlier the cards come out, the more expensive they're going to be. But there's also other like silly cards, like tongue-in-cheek ones, like that. They're all printed on toilet paper. It's like high school diploma, literacy degree, like just different. It's all really tongue-in-cheek. It's like, oh yeah, political speaking career. This is printed on toilet paper. If you buy anything to the right of those red cards, you must take the red cards with you. and that row doesn't refill until the end of the round, where everything slides on over.
Oh man!
And my favorite part about all this is that all the cards have a number, somewhere like up to 60 in their number. And at the beginning of each round, obviously turn order is a huge important factor.
Why do you get all crazy with Friedman Freeze games?
No, but hear this: the turn order is incredibly important. So you have to take. Everybody takes a single card from their deck, from their hand of cards, and you all reveal it and compare. Whoever bids the highest gets to go first, but you have to discard that card. Well, the better cards have the higher number, so that is such an impactful choice. It's like, man, I really want to go first. Am I going to drop my like mega lobbyist and just not draw 3 extra cards this turn because I'm not doing this like propaganda in order to get first place, which will let me do this, which will let me choose this, which will let me get... It's so good. I can't tell you enough how great it is. When did it come out? It came out, I think, in 2012 or 2013. I don't think it's easily obtainable here in the United States. It was printed through Ravensburger.
Yep.
But, I mean, it has Freedom and Freeze's cover on it, and it says, "Yes, we play," and it's obviously a spoof on Barack Obama's, like, poster, the Hope poster.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top. But man, this is one of those. This and Inuit are the two that, hands down, it should be in my list for the past year. Had I played them like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Now you have at it. I don't know. I keep wanting to try Friedman Freeze games,
Yep.
but every time I do, only one of them really hit for me.
This one, I think you would. I mean, you've liked everything else. You've liked Agricola.
Fair.
Yeah, you liked it fair. You like deck builders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and everything else that adds on to it. He found all of the best parts and found a way to combine them in a really cohesive, smart way that works really well. And that's part of the humor in it, too, because it's so ridiculous. It's so good. Anyway, I will stop talking about Copycat. Highly, highly encourage it. If you find one in the wild, buy it, play it, you'll love it.
Quit hitting my chair.
Oh, sorry.
All right, going into my final game that I've been playing. It's one that you talked up a lot, and it's by one of our favorite designers that we're getting practically every game for him that we can find for him. And it's not that one.
Neither of the designers?
None of those designers. It's the bigger designer that we both collect.
Ooh, Feld, huh?
Feld. I finally played Castles of Tuscany.
Finally!
I finally played it.
Finally!
And I could see why you're struggling if this is going to unseat Castles of Burgundy. What I really like about it in the timer. It is one of the smartest timers for a board game I have ever seen. Mm-hmm. So the timer is for each round when someone finishes their entire, because you have 21 chits and you put them into rows of 7 for round 1, round 2, round 3. And so every time you take a chit out of the supply, you have to feed it to that supply so someone else could pick it up. So that's the round marker where you're just taking your stuff off. So yeah, maybe you want to kind of make it fast, but it's also handy because now you have more options. If you're not the one that triggered the end round, you still have yours in there, so you have more chances of finding out what you're going to get. I think that is smart. It takes the dice rolling out it completely. I also like the fact of that you have like a variable sort of setup because you get an A, B, and C, and you can set up however you want. They just have to be long lengthwise. Yep. So they have to be, there's a form that they have to fit, but you can turn it around, kind of bunch up however you want. I like the variable setup. I love the choices like, oh, should I get this extra chit or should I get this to give me an extra card to draw up, because your cards are basically what you need for the land instead of the dice rolls. Yeah. You still have to follow the rule that you have to build off a tile that's already been built, and you still have the rule of completing sections. So if you complete a section, you get bonus points. So if it's a 3 section, you can get 6 points extra. So it comes out to like 9 points or something like that. Oh my God, this is so well done. Art could be better, but it's better than Castles of Burgundy, I'll tell you that much.
You can tell all of the colors in the different categories apart.
But, oh my God, it is a phenomenal game. I really, really liked it. I love it really does streamline Castles of Burgundy.
Yes.
Makes it go by quicker, too.
But and not in a way where it replaces it, right?
No.
I mean, it stands on its own as its own game, but it gives you that same flavor that was included in Castles of Burgundy. But Castles of Burgundy takes a while, too.
Yeah, like a 2-player game of Castles of Burgundy to play for the incomplete thing, it could take an hour and a half to 2 hours. I think for a first-time playthrough with me and the Gamehead Geek over at TikTok, we played it in probably 45 minutes to an hour, and he's sitting there like, I'm going to have to pick that up. And so, yeah, it's really good because it's much simpler than Castles of Burgundy because it's easier to explain than, okay, you got to wait because he's going to choose these dice in this section. All the stuff that you have in your control is what's going to do. So you can spend the cards to buy an area. And I also like the fact that you can use other cards to help you.
Yeah, the 2-to-1.
2-to-1 ratio, which means you can do 4 cards to pay for 1 land if it's really important for you to get it out there.
Yes, agreed. And so real quick, we have So Very Wrong About Games saying, I really want to play Fresh Fish. I just looked it up right now by Freedom and Freeze. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Then also, we have... Give me one moment.
Yeah, so... just putting someone on timeout. There we go.
All right, cool. So, we also have Punch-a Wook, who is saying, I'll keep an eye open for it. And the next big game I want to pick up is Xcom, the board game. I can imagine how good the game translated into big form. And wasn't that Emerson Matsuuchi who made Xcom, the board game? I might be wrong on that.
I think so. I don't know. I want to try Xcom. I haven't played it, though.
Yeah, we've definitely had opportunity to do it. Absolutely. Cool. Well, so that's the games that we played over the past week or two. Definitely some highlights. I'm very, very much excited. Oh, Eric Lang, yes.
Yeah.
Eric Lang was the one who made that. Yeah. But I've heard really good things. We used to sell it back in the day, and we've only sold the 1 copy, and I don't think we have since. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, so let's get on to our actual list. What games were our favorite in the last year?
That's right.
Since their second year started for this podcast.
Now, I have a caveat. I don't have these in any particular order. I just thought about it.
Yeah, I just put them in the order of what I liked the most. And this saying something, because my number 5 I really, really enjoyed. But also, like, my surprise with them, too.
Yeah, exactly. I went roughly chronological, but even that has some variability. So, we're going to talk about 8 games each, about games that we've played over the past year. And, of course, next year we're going to do the same list, just to highlight some of the big ones. And this way, I feel like this is also a really important list, because listeners who listen to this and go, okay, well, obviously, like, if as an example is So Very Wrong About Games, looking at, Fresh Fish, obviously he likes some Freedom and Freeze style games and stuff. So maybe if he aligns more with my style, then the games I suggest are the ones that he could look into. Or vice versa, if you're not a fan of Freedom and or like more of a fan of whatever you end up bringing up, then that I've always appreciated like top 10 lists and so you can kind of align yourself with the different reviewers and say, oh, okay, well, this person, all the same games I like, that's why I want to, any suggestions that they make, probably a good sign.
Yeah, that's the caveat. I mean,
it's
honestly,
weird, I know. But
yeah, for me, it's what I played in the last year that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
It had to. Now, I'm going to do a couple shout-outs for games that
Sure.
didn't make this list. One, because I played them before. Gloomhaven is my most played game the past year.
Yep.
I've been playing the storyline with the wife, and we've had a great time playing it. Mind you, we've taken a little break because it was a bit intense. I think we had like 30 or 40 games or something like that in the last year. So, taking a little break. We've been playing other games with some friends too. So, and then there was one other game that I wanted to talk about that didn't hit my list. Oh, Dune Imperium. It just missed out. I think it was on my list last year. But I just got the expansion, and it's sleeved, and I want to get it to the table eventually.
Right. Good deal. Yeah, a couple that I want to point out real quick. Happy Winchester.
That one's really good. That almost made my list.
Surprising. Seven Wonders Architects.
I do want to try that one.
Yep. And Red Cathedral, which I found out I played in January of last year.
Oh, and I really want to play that one.
Yeah, I now have a copy.
All right,
Hint,
we'll have to
hint.
check it out. But, I mean, you want to also get our legacies done, too.
That's true. I'm the only one here? Come on now. We're sitting on so many legacies right now. All right, let's start this off. Our number 8.
Hey, I get to start it out. And my number 8, hey, I just talked about a Stefan Feld game. And this is another Stefan Feld game I'm going to talk about. In fact, it's one of my favorites now of his. It's probably one of my top 4, maybe, of all his games, because I really dug it. And this is Cocopelli. Fast little card game. Well, not really fast, but quick for Stefan Feld.
Yeah, it is. It's fast for him.
And so you're playing into your neighbors' areas as well as yours. So, like, if me and Danny are sitting right here, I got the 2 over here plus the 2 that he has. And then if I have, like, my mutual or our friend TikTok on TikTok, Gamehead Geek, he's got his thing, so I can play over here, but I got to make sure what I'm playing isn't started in any of my play areas. So, like, if you put out the drummers on your side and the Gamehead Geek over here has his, the warriors out there, I can't start a warrior celebration in my line, my dance step. So it's kind of like, okay, I got to play smart. It takes a little bit to figure that out. And I will not deny that fact. It takes a little bit. Once you do, you're like, wow.
Yeah, because then you have an incentive to score other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they'll get a point, but you'll also get the higher point value that you scored of something that they had, and now that clears up the option for you to play it.
And get that started going. Yeah, it's so smart. It's a nice card game. I really, really enjoy it. I like the artwork in it. For a Queen game, it's not bad artwork.
Yeah.
I understand some people are like upset about it because it's like he's German and he's paying tribute to Southwestern designs and the Cocopelli and stuff like that. But he went through there and talked about all this with them. And then he's like, okay, now I got to understand it. And that's why he's putting it out there.
Yeah,
I
he
like
was
it.
inspired by actual
Yeah.
Southwestern culture.
And we live in the Southwest. Cocopellis are everywhere. Like I said, I work for a company where we go to people's houses to install appliances, and you see the Cocopelli probably 3 to 4 out of every 10 houses out here. It is highly popular out here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so much to the point. Remember about a year ago, before we knew about this game?
Yeah.
I even told you, I was like, I wonder if somebody's ever going to make a game about Cocopellis, because it's such a prominent thing around here. And sure enough,
it
Stefan
took
Feld.
a German to do it.
It took a German to do it. And
But no,
it happened.
And it was because he got inspired by it when he was doing one of the conventions out in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, that's nice, really nice. And he went to look on it, stuff like that, and learn about it. And it's just... And then the game is just fun. Mind you, honestly, the game itself, you could put a theme any way, shape, or form on this. It could be like dance troops fighting it out. It would still work, but it's a smart game. It plays really well. I enjoyed it. I need to try the expansion with it just to see what those cards do different.
It's just more abilities. That's all it is.
It really is. But I really like it. So my number 8 was Cocopelli.
Good pick. Very good pick. I don't know why I'm flipping the coin. So my number 8 is technically 3 games, and I'm lumping these together because these are my one-time play games. It includes Box 1 is one of them. It also includes Echoes, the Dancer specifically is the one I've played, and also Cantaloupe Breaking into Prison. which is like a point and click style game.
Yeah.
Who I thought was made by Friedman Freeze.
Friedman Freeze.
Yeah, Friedman Freeze. But it wasn't. It was by somebody else who has it's Friedman something else. It also starts with an F. But no, that's basically a point and click adventure. They're all very different games. One, if you like point and click adventures, Cantaloupe was absolutely awesome. There is some great humor in it. I will give one slight spoiler. So if you don't want to hear about this, skip ahead 20 seconds. And it doesn't change the story at all. However, the spoiler is that you can unlock achievements that have no effect on the game by either really smart or really dumb methods. And it will congratulate you. It's like, congratulations, you unlocked this by being either really smart or really dumb. And you know which one you picked. The humor in it is one of the funniest things I've ever had. So Cantaloupe was really great. I rarely sit down for 8 hours by myself to play a game. That I absolutely did.
I do it all the time with video games, so I can't really say anything.
Exactly. No, it's great. And then, of course, Echoes was a really cool idea because you're trying to solve the story. It's by Matthew Dunstan.
Move on to the next one because that's the one I want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, you gotta solve this story by listening to audio clips of it's basically a movie. You just don't need the visuals.
Yeah.
It's really great sound foley that they use. It's very clear what everything's doing. Everything was well thought out. It's less of a game and more of just this cool interactive puzzle experience. Really fun. But box one.
Oh my god.
Box one. That's the reason these three are on the list.
I've been hesitant in fighting you with this one. It's been a while. By the way, you didn't take it home with you.
I know, I need to.
But oh god. This didn't make my list because honestly, I probably may save this for next year because it falls within that window we're talking about. But I agree with you on this one. This was good. This was
really good. This is, and I still stand by this, the best escape room in a box experience I've had. And that's saying I love the Unlock series. I love the Exit series. I really like escape room in a box. Those are great quality. This tops all of them.
Yeah.
Better story, better components. Great,
love
simple
humor.
Puzzles. There's less fun puzzles. Okay, I'll give it that. I like some of the puzzles and some of the other stuff better.
Yeah.
But better humor, better premise,
I don't know. I
better production, just all of it.
I don't hate the puzzles in this one. There are some really good puzzles.
They're fine.
There's some
good.
difficult ones too.
There are. It's not a wash. I'm just saying
what I like about this one as well, it's because it's you have the internet, use it.
Yeah.
So it's if you don't know the answer to a riddle we're telling you,
yeah, go ahead.
Google it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not that big of a deal. Right, where it's other games no, don't go online or else.
Yeah, no, that's cheating.
No, seriously. This, they thought of all of it, and it works really well, and I'm glad I finally coerced
Have you got the deck of cards?
The Neil Patrick Harris deck of cards?
Yeah, because there's an escape room game in them as well.
I've heard about that. I have not bought his cards yet.
No, I just got the email for it because you can register with after you do everything successfully. Mm-hmm. And so I dug this. I love everything about this game and what it did. I'm just sad I can't relive it again.
Right, exactly.
That's
so
good.
The only worst part about all these one-time plays is that you can't recapture that energy. All you can do is hand it to someone else and say, tell me when you're done.
Yeah, no,
we're gonna talk.
Yeah, because what is it? The exits or unlocked. I'm okay, that was nice. It was good. It was fun, and especially for escape rooms in this one, it's just the shock and awe what this thing, this one little thing did. Mind you, you can play it 2 players. It is for me the perfect solo game.
Yes.
Yep. And I tore through it in 2 days just because I'm all right, fine, I'm going to get through it. It took me a little bit. It's okay, I read the rules, I read what I had to do, and I just kept, something came up.
Or not on purpose, but it just kept, you kept procrastinating to get it done, and then when I was finally just get it done.
I'm all right, fine.
You're fine. Shut up, Danny.
Well, the thing is, I came in here, did some editing, while the stuff was going, the box was there, I'm all right, I'll do it. Started going through it again, I'm okay, this is pretty cool. I don't know what he's talking about. All right.
And then that one time, there's something that happens, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is not what I thought. Oh.
And it's funny, because this game knows people will try to do it in one shot. It does something where you're like, no, you take a break.
Yeah, it's like, you take a break. You're good.
Because I literally sat here for a few hours. Mind you, my editing was done. I was in here for a few hours working through this. So.
Yeah. It was, it's one of my favorite experiences, hands down. And now I think our next target is going to be Gamehead Geek, and I'm going to hand him my copy. Yeah. Because you're the third person to play this copy, by the way. You are the third person. I mean, my friend Jim is
I was going to say, you probably gave it to Jim first.
Absolutely, I gave it to him first, but no offense.
No, I know. He's your... you guys have an escape room in a box kind of game.
Room company, yes. So it made sense for us to do it.
What do you think of it?
Oh, he was enamored with it.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it.
No, I do have to give this. Well, I had other things going on. All right.
No. I mean, like, not just to play it. I mean, he didn't wait during that part you were referencing earlier.
Oh, yeah.
He chose not to. He was like, "Yeah, that's probably fine," and he did it anyway, and it worked really well.
Yeah. So I was just like, no, I needed that break because I was like, why am I hungry?
Oh yeah, no, I did not eat the entire time playing it, and I should have. It was worth it.
It was worth it. I really enjoyed it. And the thing is, I don't have a big desk, so I was in here doing the editing. I played it all on this desk. It takes up some space, but not a lot.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Very cool.
All right, so that was your number 8.
That's right. Going on to our number 7. Daniel, start us off.
All right, so my number 7 is talking about another one of our favorite designers that we really enjoy, the one that you were about to pull out, and that was Phil Walker Harding. And this one is my go-to deck builder to teach people deck building. This is probably the easiest game to teach people if they're not familiar with deck building, and this is Summer Camp. I remember you bought your copy. You said Phil Walker Harding. We were like, all right, let's pause game night.
I bought it, and I saw it at the store. I looked at it. I was like, oh, this is a Phil Walker Harding too. And so I bought it immediately before I ever told you guys about it.
Ordered it.
Yeah, I ordered it online to pick it up, and I purposefully did not tell you guys it was a Phil Walker Harding because I sent you a picture. I said Phil Walker Harding at Target. Go get it.
No. Because I was there when you ordered it. You're getting it this stuff. That was our mutual friend Dom that you told it to.
Yes.
We were playing game night over there, and you're like, dude, they have it in here. So you ordered it online. We stopped what we were doing, went to Target, picked it up. That's when I brought
it back. That's right.
I picked up a game there too. I think it was the Goonies.
Yeah.
And so we brought it back. We played it, and I had to go and order a copy. And then we had a running gag the entire night, which was like every time you looked, it was in someone else's bag.
Hey, Creative Chaos.
It's
and so very wrong about games. Said Llama Land.
I do own it. I have to play it.
I know you haven't played it yet.
No, but Summer Camp. Oh, man, I like it. I love the theme on it. It's just a nice little deck builder race game where you're just trying to get your campers across the way. It's variable because it's got like different card decks that you can play in the game as well.
Yeah.
I adore this game. I actually needed to get back to the table because I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So my number 7 is Summer Camp.
Very good. Good choice. My number 7 is a game that we first heard about. I mean, we heard about it prior to it. But I purposely did not look too much into it until we interviewed the owner of the company. And this is the Night Cage. We talked with Kurt Covert, who owns Smirk and Dagger Games, on our podcast. And
I figured this was going to be on your list.
Yeah, and he told us about this. I'm like, okay. You know, he definitely has a great style. He has a great knack for finding just some of the best games that I've ever seen. You know, like it. And like they don't have to be like the best ones. It's a darn shame he does not have an evergreen yet. That's the problem. Is he doesn't have the single game that's synonymous with his product line.
Yeah.
And when he does, he will absolutely have earned it, and he deserves.
Honestly, I could see Night Cage doing it.
Night Cage was so good
because people are talking a lot about it.
Night Cage was so good, and it's not even like I don't want to say it's a great game because it's not that great of a game. It's like it's okay. It works well.
Yeah.
But how well it elicits that. Like nervousness, emotions, it's so good. Every tile you don't want to pull it, but you know you have to pull that tile, and then so you're like, man, I really wish we could discard these tiles. But then when you do discard the tiles, when the wax eaters hit you, you're like, oh no, this is probably something good. Like, you immediately retract that statement. You're like, I want to discard all these tiles, get them over with. No, but you don't at the same time. Oh, goodness. This is going to now be a staple. Every Halloween, I am playing this game. It's so good.
I still got to try this one.
I love the graphics, by the way. The graphic design and the art on it, the black and white, very simple. It just gets better and better. Growing up, I saw the books, the scary stories to tell in the dark. Do you remember those?
Yep.
I've always loved that style. And this isn't exactly spot on, but it's not far from it. It's a little more refined and creepy, less freeform, but it's still really, like, it's not a comfortable look.
Yeah.
It looks unfortunate. And Creative Chaos was nice enough to point out, I swear more and more games appear in the background every time I watch. Yep, that is not wrong.
The only thing is, I just did a culling too. That's the issue.
You came back with just as many.
Yeah, that was a honeypot, I'll tell you.
I was the only one who came back with fewer games, and by a significant margin.
But you still came back with more than you normally do.
58. And I came back with 16.
I think I left with like 16 to 19, somewhere in that range, and I came back with 11.
Yeah, and no, it's not your imagination whatsoever. I'm feeling the weight of the games just existing behind me.
All right, let's move on to our next one.
All right, our number 6. All right.
That was a weird one. Go ahead.
So I'll start off. We have our first crossover.
Cocopelli,
yeah. And so I completely agree with everything you say. I like how it works. I love it. It's a Feld. Inuit might replace it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. What do you mean, like, replace it? It's not a Feld, so it's not going
anywhere. It's not going anywhere in my collection. But I mean, like, if given the option...
You would choose Inuit?
I might choose Inuit. I don't know. So they both do some things really well.
Yeah.
Where... What Inuit lacks is deep strategy. But
okay.
What its advantage is that it's super combo-tastic.
Nice.
Which is fun. But Stefan Feld has a very legitimate strategy in it. Like, wanting to complete other people's things is a really deep consideration.
Exactly.
And especially if you're trying to clear it up for yourself, or if you're just trying to complete it to get the points, and to stop them from getting the benefit, or like all kinds. One of the funniest things is, like, if you were sitting to my right and you complete one of mine, I'm like, all right, fine, and then I play it again the very next turn. It's one of the funniest things that can happen,
and it's happened.
And it happened several times in that game, and it just works. It's so good every single time. That's a joke that doesn't get old.
And the thing is, we were giggling the whole time. I can remember, and I'm gonna get a little uncensored on this one, so it's PG-13. Okay. But every time we did it to the Game Head Geek on TikTok, he would be like, "You son of a bitch!"
Yeah, every time. He would every single one that he closed of mine, I would play it right after. And that happened at least 4 times.
Or my person. Now, mind you, I didn't do anything to the Game Head Geek. He was sitting across from, or catty corner from me, so I don't mess with him at all. Mm-hmm. But it was like, you son of a, and then damn it, Dom, because Dom would do it as well. Yep. So it's just
just every single time. That game is so good. I mean, it fell. There's a reason it made my list. I was excited before I had it. I was excited when I had it. I'm still excited now that I have it and have played it.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy that game.
But I need to show you Inuit now.
All right. So my number 6 is one. You found it okay. You weren't too thrilled with it. I think you need to play it with a higher player count. I think you'll like it more. I do feel...
Seven Wonders Duel.
No. I do think it feels better because it gets more tight-knit in the game. So
Magic the Gathering.
No, it is Cape May by Thunderworks Games.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And this one, it's beautiful. It's probably one of their better production games.
Yeah. It's great production. Yeah.
Yeah, I know your gripe with the board, which is weird because I can actually see it, and I'm usually the one that struggles with the board colors. Mm-hmm. But our other friend that I showed it to, he really, really enjoyed it. I think it's a phenomenal game. I like the fact that you're moving across the board, you're spinning your cards, and I like that if you want to go slow, you got to pay for it, but if you want to go fast, you got to pay for it too. Yep. So maybe you want to kind of go middle ground. I like the bird watching. I know you have an issue with the scoring because it just doesn't match up for you. When it comes to the tokens, it's like the different tokens. You're like, this should be a different number.
I don't remember that.
It is, but it isn't, because there's a section where you have grass and dirt like right on top of each other.
Yeah.
And Easier
Your
to pick
options
up.
are either brown, lighter brown, green, or gray.
Yeah, so the
Or
gray's
like the four
fine,
sections, yeah.
and the lighter brown is fine. It's just because
No,
the green,
lighter brown and the green are what mess with me.
really, because it's the dirt section, which is the darker brown, and the grass section, which is the green. That
They all look the same, except for the gray. Ironically enough, did not look the same.
yeah, because it's like sandy and stuff like that. I had a great time with this one. I like the choices that you get in this game when you're building up the properties and putting those plastic pieces on the board. It looks really nice. I like the different scoring capabilities. I like the different choices of your actions because you can do 3 actions and it's like a list of 5 or 6 that you can do. I find this a gorgeous game. It's not the best game out of Thunderworks. I still think I like Role Player the most. I really want to try Role Player Adventure. But I was surprised with this one because I'm only familiar with Thunderworks with their Role Player stuff.
Right.
And this is totally out of their realm.
Yes.
And I really had a great time with it. And to the point where I'm looking forward to their next game that they're showing off right now. And that's Tenpenny Park, which goes on pre-order actually in a couple days, like I think Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't hate it. I did like it. It's just it was okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't enamored with it, but I do.
So I've played
I've never disliked anything Keith has made.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've played it twice with 2-player, and I played it once with 4-player, and I think I preferred that the 4-player one because it just things get tighter on there because you're losing spaces, and you're like, okay, I need a gun and run to get to a section that I need to.
Right.
Now, so I do think a higher player count actually makes this game better.
Interesting. All right, our number 5. Excuse me.
All right.
Allergies are hitting me. I'll be starting us off on. My number 5 is one that I'm assuming will probably show up on your list later. I don't know that for sure, but it is a game that right after I showed you how to play it, took us longer to learn how to play it than it did to play.
Shh.
And yep, right off the bat, you probably know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah,
it's such an ingenious little puzzle. You're shifting around tiles to get fruit. You trade in the fruit to get either milkshakes, other tiles, or sailing ships to get points. That's a game. Sounds boring. But when you shift a tile, you shift it as many spaces as you want or that are available. And every time you move it, that's how many times you get to take that action that's on the tile. The 5 you start with are just 5 different kinds of fruits that you get to trade in for points. Afterwards, though, as you sail away your ships, which by trading in fruit you get points, that opens up spots on your board to slide things even farther, which makes it even more of a puzzle, which makes it so satisfying, which means every single time you play it, there is more and more and more options for what is available. Now, we did end up playing it at the advanced mode a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And it works. It's fine. It wasn't anything... It didn't add anything to it, but also didn't detract anything from it. So in the advanced mode, you have like this fruit thing where, excuse me, where you're moving your discs along and you pay fruit to either get points or get extra little abilities or to gain other like victory points in different ways.
Okay.
That's it. It's not complicated. It's easy to bring that in, but it's perfectly fine without it, honestly.
I really like the easy mode or the non-advanced mode.
Yeah, it was fine. And I actually, I won handily on that game because everybody else was focusing on that track, and I almost entirely filled my board with the extra bonus tiles. That was my whole premise, is I had like all my tiles bunched into one little corner, and everything else was pre-built that I couldn't deal with anyway. It was hilarious.
No, I dig that game. We may talk about it a little later. Let's see.
Oh.
Yeah. Moving on to my number 5. I don't know if this is going to be on your list, but it should. And this is The Lost Ruins of Arnac. I checked my stats, and I actually played it within the second year twice. And so this qualifies. And I think it's the reason why it's moving so far up this list. In fact, it could easily make it to like my number 1, or not of all time, but on this list because of the expansion. The leaders for Lost Ruins of Arnac make that game. I would not play without those leaders because it gives people a focus.
Right.
Instead of, playing the generic, oh, you can do over here, or you can do over here, you can play on this track and figure out. No, this is like, hey, this character does really well if you start collecting stuff for buying items, or this character does really well if you use your bird smartly, or, hey, you can get fear, but this guy allows you to do certain things. It gives you something to work for. Gives you a starting point and stuff. But I think with that expansion, it just made it phenomenal. The different variables, abilities. WoW expansion name?
Yeah.
Sure, Leaders and Expeditions? Yeah,
right,
it does.
Exactly. So, I'm going to tell you, it's not on my list.
Okay.
And the reason being is because I have one gripe with this game. And it's not a gripe with the game, too. It's a gripe with the people who play the game. And let me tell you what that is. And it's a small detail. And it's the same reason why I don't like Wingspan as much as a lot of people. It's because for some reason, the people who are really into this game, they're like, oh yeah, this is easy to learn. And they're trying to teach non-hobby gamers. I strongly disagree. Wingspan is simpler than Lost Ruins.
I would say Wingspan is like a next step. It's just above like a welcoming game.
When I don't agree with that. I think it's mid-weight, absolutely. And I've had people say, yeah, it's light to medium weight for Lost Ruins of Arnac. It's like,
no, it's medium to heavy.
Yeah.
There's and the reason being is because there's a lot going on to it. So yeah, it's at its core, it's a deck builder.
Yeah.
So if you know how to play deck builders, you're fine. I would not start someone who's new into the hobby with this as a deck builder. That's why summer camp is on my list.
Exactly. No, and that was my only ever argument against it is when people started saying like, yeah, this is easy to get. Like, this is a great introductory game. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Now, like,
if you think this is an introductory game, like, go back to playing 40K, Warhammer. Go back to playing like the epic war games from Avalon Hill. All right, the bookcase games.
My thing is that I would show this to someone who listed their games that they liked were like Viticulture or on my list over here, Viticulture, or let's see. That's too simple, like Terraforming Mars and stuff like that, because this is along where they want to go. It's heavier. Now, I would show this to newer Wingspan to newer gamers more than I would show this one.
I do agree with that. If I had the choice of either of the two, I'm showing Wingspan. But I still would not show this to a new gamer unless I've had. Like, I'm talking to somebody who
just straight off the street.
Straight up, like my mom, I'm never going to show Wingspan to, because she, like, when Llama is a difficult game, like, because it's that much different than Uno, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, gamers like that.
Well, you don't show this straight off the street. That's going to chase them away.
Yeah, and I've had people who claim they're like, yeah, this is the best introductory game. It's like Wingspan, Lost Ruins. It's like, no, it's
Jamie not. Stegmaier and Elizabeth Hargrave says it's not a great introductory game. Now, I will say this about Wingspan. It's gotten a lot of people into the hobby because they were birders before they found this game. So, but that's not what I'm talking about. Lost Ruins of Arnac, though, I found this game okay. I really like Dune Imperium more because I like the combat system in it as well. And I'm familiar with the Dune series.
Right. And see, I care zero about the backstory, so that's why I like this one better.
And then so I was like, okay, if I would choose, I would choose Dune Imperium. Now with Leaders and Expeditions, I would probably pick the Lost Ruins of Arnac. However, I do have the expansion for Dune Imperium, so I want to see what that adds to that game. Because again, I am familiar with the lore. I really enjoy Dune, but Lost Ruins of Arnac is just a smart game.
Yeah,
because
it was my second favorite worker placement deck building game of this year.
What was the first?
Copycat.
Oh God,
I knew that. I knew you'd hate this. It really was that much.
But I find that I like deck building worker placement games because because I just had pre-ordered Endless Winter, which uses that same mechanism. And so Lost Ruins of Arnac, phenomenal game. If you're a gamer, check it out.
Yes. Number 4. Going into the next category, you'll be starting us off.
But if you're not a gamer, I will show you this one instead because I think it's a little simpler, and this is Raccoon Tycoon.
Okay, yeah.
I think
Raccoon Tycoon is what do you think is more difficult, Raccoon Tycoon or Wingspan?
Wingspan, I think, is more difficult.
Yeah. Would you say that this is light. This is light to medium, right?
Yeah, this is light to medium.
So would you say that Wingspan is a medium weight?
I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's what I claim it as. And everybody's
for my reason is like it's light to medium, whereas Raccoon Tycoon's on the lighter side.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say Wingspan's closer to the medium. I think they're both light medium. It's just in that spectrum where it's going to go. I think Wingspan goes to more.
If you were averaging it, it rounds up to the near.
Yeah. If you're rounding it up, then yeah, Wingspan goes to medium, where this one goes light.
Down.
Yeah.
Light. Yeah, sure.
So Raccoon Tycoon, man, always getting me off topic when it comes to mine. I'm just throwing your list out.
Wait, what?
Always throwing me off topic, so now you got to go find it.
I'll see what I can do.
I'll grab it here in a minute. But Raccoon Tycoon, I have a great time with this game. In fact, I found the deluxe version when we went onto our Bookman's trip.
I'm listening.
But it's a nice little economic game out there. It teaches you, like, hey, for like a stock market game, it does a phenomenal job because you're building resources, you're trying to increase them, find the best time to sell them, because when you sell them, it decreases in price. It is so smart. I really, really enjoy it. I wish they supported it more because you could only get the expansion if you got the Kickstarter. Luckily enough, I found a copy in the wild. Yeah, he always has something with him on it. But it's so good. I really, really enjoy it. I think it's well designed, and I would show this to a new gamer.
Yeah, I probably would too. I don't think this is so difficult that you can't. This is what people are talking about when they say Wingspan is an introductory.
No,
they really mean Raccoon Tycoon. That's all it is.
But it's funny because there's a follow-up copy. I want to try it, but it's like I heard people saying it's not as good as Raccoon Tycoon.
Yeah, like Lizard Wizard.
Lizard Wizard is what it's called.
I don't know. Might be all right. My number 4. That was your number 4, right?
Yep.
My number 4 is another crossover.
Summer Camp.
Yep.
That's probably only our crossovers. Well, no, we got one more. I think we got one more.
We'll see. But Summer Camp, yeah, hands down. Everything you said, agree. It's one of my favorite designers making a really simple game, taking the core mechanism, streamlining it to the best way possible. It works really well. Did a great job. I don't have anything more to say with it other than I think the way that each of the different merit badges works really well. Excuse me. And I like how the scores still decrease in every other game that he's made. Just like first one to get it gets top points, next one second most, etc. But the fact that you're doing this in a deck building race style and the board has different options, and finally the pieces and components, other than the card stock, everything else is fantastically made. It doesn't get much better than what Buffalo Games has been doing lately. And now I'm curious to see what else might come out from Buffalo Games. I haven't heard anything in a while, but that's probably because they unloaded so many onto Target all at once.
Yeah.
And they were all great quality. So, Buffalo Games, keep up your good work. Keep doing what you are doing because we, as gamers, really appreciate it. And please make an expansion for the summer camp. I want more. Yeah. I want more merit badges. I really do.
Oh yeah, or just all you got to do is build some more decks of cards too.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I want. Like, and I'll
give us like a pack that gives us like 3 more.
Yeah, shut up and take my money. Like it's yours.
Here
like,
you go.
Like if you just tell me there's an expansion and don't tell me anything about it, it could be like I don't know, ice cream parlor or child labor. I don't know. Well, probably not child labor, but I would still hand you your money. And it's like, all right, whatever the expansion is, here's the money. I'm in. So that's my next one.
So I'm moving on to... Oh, wait, no. We got to flip the coin.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick. NPC Aaron says, Target mostly does retail settings 3 times a year, so everything kind of ends up in waves there. Yeah, I've noticed in a lot of the big ones, like this one, for example, tends to hit around summertime. That's when they really revamp the board games to where they clearance out a lot of the old stuff.
That always makes me excited because the clearance sales.
Yeah, we always watch it all summer long. And go, okay, all right, clearance sale. All right, let's stock up a little bit. What's coming out? What's coming out? What's coming out? And here's 4 more Phil Walker Harding all of a sudden. When they did Snakes and Tetris, and when they did like all those, the golden ticket. Yeah. Oh man, this was a good year for Target, and thank you for doing that. All right, next round. You'll
Hey,
be starting us off.
I'm starting this. This is not a crossover, maybe. This is my oldest game on my list here, and it's only a few years old. But I finally was able to find a copy in the wild, and that is Paleo. I dig this game. Honestly, I could put this at number 1, but I know for sure my number 1 is my number 1 for a reason. It's also the most played one as well. But Paleo... Now, there was a rule goof the first time we played it, but even you were just like, okay, I like what this is doing. This is smart. Now, I played it with the rules and properly, and it just hits.
Because I definitely enjoyed it, even with the rules goof. But are you saying that it still holds its own?
Oh, yeah. With the full rules, it hits like at another level. It's phenomenal. It's a little bit more difficult, I think. When I played it with the other group with the proper rules, we got 3 skulls and were able to just make that, what is it, the cave painting.
Oh, yeah.
It
just barely.
Yeah, just barely. It was because we were like, oh, God, we're not going to end up being able to feed our people. We're going to lose 2. And then that loses the game because it's the 5 skulls. But yeah, it hit. It plays so well. It's a simple card game. The fact that you can play different scenarios with different cards and they do different things. And then you basically have a tableau. You're like, I don't really want to do this red one because it could be bad. But, sometimes there's good stuff on them. But so I'm going to put them back in order on our deck. And I'm going to do this because we need more stone. So I'm going to go to the mountain and see if I can collect some stone. Or we're going to need to go over there and get some food. So, one of us
must get stone.
Yeah, we... Oh, God. Always throwing me off on mine.
Go on.
So, yeah.
Mine is a great place to get stoned, by the way.
My number 3 is Paleo, so I am done for the day.
My number 3 is a game that I have still only played once, and it already made this list. And that's because as soon as our mutual friend Dom showed me how to play it, and I played it once, that's all I needed, and I have since bought my copy and kickstarted the sequel, and that's Almanac.
Yeah, this didn't even hit my list. I didn't think about it. I think I just skimmed over it.
Yeah, it caught my eye because, oh my goodness, I adore this game. I like how it's working, resource management, worker placement, fulfilling contracts to get points, all of the stuff that you would want in a good Euro game, but that the way that the worker placement works after going from page to page to page and having all these different cool combinations, it just reminds me, in a weird way, it reminds me of like the overworld of like the Galaxy and Star Fox.
Yeah.
How you have multiple paths to get to the main planet. And this you kind of do too. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure in a way. And it's the players who have the most advantage from the previous page get to choose what the next page you go to.
Yeah.
And how the different resources affect you in different ways. I think this game is awesome. And it is really just a fun time. Couldn't agree more with anybody who backed it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
looking
backed
forward
it.
to the sequel. Yeah.
I backed it for the sequel plus the original copy.
And I was already a fan of Scott Almes before this.
Yeah.
But this, as an independent designer,
honestly,
I'm
becoming more and more a fan of Scott Almes away from the Tiny Epic stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I liked his Tiny Epic stuff. That's fine. But I never noticed much of anything else prior to this, and then after this, you see like all of the other ones that he's coming out with, and like Boomerang and all these other really great games.
Boomerang is phenomenal.
And that just barely missed my list, by the way.
It's on the outside. It's like an honorable mention for me.
It's so good. So thank you, Scott Holmes, for making this game, and I can't wait to get the sequel.
All right, number 2.
Number 2. Speaking of number 2,
I will be going
first. All right, my number 2 is a game that I showed you that you even said barely missed this list. And that's because I showed you this and its predecessor in the same day. I think it was in the same day. It's about hiking in nature.
Oh, yes.
Yep, Parks. Holy cow.
No, it wasn't the same day. It was followed-up weeks.
Oh, okay. Follow either way. Yeah. Parks. One of the best productions
it's phenomenal
in a game.
Production.
The art is amazing, even down to the paper stock that they use in the rule book.
Oh yeah. It's
all of it.
Phenomenal
Great metal pieces,
and the fact that you could get it in retail stores.
Yeah, so you can get it in retail. it's worth every single thing. In Creative Chaos, it's just simply called Parks.
Parks, yep.
And it's about trekking through the national parks. You have 2 pods that start at the beginning of the trailhead. You're going to the end of the trailhead. You can move as far as you want on your turn, but you cannot occupy the same space held by another player. And you can move either of your 2 pieces on your turn. So if I see Daniel jumped ahead, he's at the spot that I want. Well, I can just kind of wait it out and hope my other piece will take care of it. Or I could jump way ahead and get the spot that I really want, which you might be eyeing a little bit, and I need a guarantee. I just got to do it now. But then that's everything else I can't go back to do.
Yeah.
When you play the first round of parks, it doesn't seem like you're going to have enough time to even get like 2 or 3 parks, because it's like, wow, there's only like 2 or 3 resources that come out every turn that you can get. There's no way I'm going to fulfill one of these parks. Then you end the game and you have about, baker's dozen to 20 easily. And you're like, wow, how did I do this? Because you're buying equipment, you're buying canteens, filling them with water and sunshine. To do that, you have endgame victory points. You're getting photos on the way. The way you move it, everything. Oh my God, parks. If you haven't played it, if you like Euro games, go get it now.
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal game. I really, really enjoy it. I've played it a couple times since then. I do want to get the expansion, or I have the expansion. I want to get it played. Nightfall. It's phenomenal. Also, Trails is really good too.
Yeah.
Parks looks like a simple short game. It's not.
It's not.
You're going to be in there for about an hour or so, if not more.
That. Yeah.
Depending on the player count, because if you play 2 players, it doesn't play that.
Yeah, that's true. 2 players minimum an hour.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah. I mean, if you're going a little long, it might be an hour and a half. I say realistically an hour and a half to 2 hours depending on the play count.
Yeah, no, but it's phenomenal. I really enjoy this game. I like Trails as well. I prefer Parks over Trails, but if I want to get that Parks feel, I'll play Trails. But I don't want to do like the full length time. I'll play Trails because you can get a game of Trails.
Has your wife played either of these yet?
Yeah, she likes both of them. She likes Trails just for the fact that it's shorter.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah, it's really good.
All right.
Oh, NPC Aaron, the collection that you see behind us is Daniel's here.
So
mine, you wouldn't see wall space.
That is true. Are we moving? That's our number 2, right?
Yeah, those are number 2.
Okay, so my number 2 is a crossover.
Really?
Yeah. You know which one.
Yeah, Juicy Fruits.
Everything you said about it. It's in my top 100. The one with the hat. So it is a phenomenal game. Juicy Fruits is, I like the little slide puzzle. In fact, that you're talking about it took us like 30 minutes to get through the rules. It took us about 15 to 20 minutes to play the game itself. So it is a phenomenal game. It's great production value as well. So I just picked up a copy for myself recently when we did our Bookman's trip. I bought it at the shop in Tucson. I can't think of the name now. Gadgets and
Games and Gadgets.
Games and Gadgets in Tucson Mall. If you ever get a chance, go check it out. Juicy
They have
Fruits.
a tavern in the back.
Yeah, Juicy Fruits, my number 2. It is a phenomenal game. That one you do need to check out.
Yeah. And now I'm curious. So NPC Aaron, we're going to just say this out loud. It said, sweet, I've worked on 8 games and on your wall in some capacity. You must have great taste. Which ones? We're really curious. That's awesome. And what were your roles in it? All right. So like you sir have good taste if that's the case. Well, hold on. I will say that before I speak. I know he will agree that you have great taste, but let's see which ones you say that you've worked on. No, I'm kidding. I like most of these too.
Yeah, a lot of them are really good.
And now for our number 1.
Who's starting?
You're starting us off.
Alrighty, my number 1 is actually one of my more recent games that I played, but it's also one that I've played the mess out of, and because it's a storyline game. And this one was on my anticipated list for 2021. Mm-hmm. This is The Initiative. Okay. I dig the mess out of this game. I love the puzzle aspect, and like it's teaching you as you're going through, like, okay, this is one of the rules out there. This is another rule out there. So for, cryptogram and stuff like that, breaking codes and making codes, I just think it's phenomenal. I really enjoy this game. I think it's a smart game. And I like the fact that you just have 2 boards, or one board that flips either way, and you just do variable setup. I have an intriguing. Yeah, I know. But let me get through my topic here, because you keep distracting me every time I talk about games.
Go on.
ADD is driving me insane.
I apologize. Go ahead.
The initiative is phenomenal. You guys, if you want a fun game that plays simply, because it's made to play with families, and that teaches you roles as you're going through, and teaches you how to code break and stuff like that. Not like really code break, but simple stuff.
Well, it does teach you basic, and legitimate used in history code cracking.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's a smart game. Corey Kinesco is like one of my favorite designers. He's been attached to a lot of the games that I have, like behind Danny over here. It's phenomenal.
Absolutely. So, I want to talk about Aaron real quick before we go on to this. Aaron, well, thank you, because
I enjoy a lot of those games.
Designer, on Villainous, Godzilla Tokyo Clash, Marvel Villainous, though significant work. Also worked on a smaller capacity, Jaws Horrified, Pan Am, The Goonies, and Back to the Future. So clearly you worked for Prospero Hall.
Or still do.
Which, now, because now I'm curious, sir. And forgive me, no, that's not.
He still does. So, Prospero Hall is actually one of our favorite design groups or designers. Disney Villainous it was in my top 100. Horrified was my number 2 favorite game of all time when we did our top 100 list. I really enjoy Goonies. I need to get that played more. I've only played it the once. And Back to the Future, Back in Time is one of my favorite co-op games. But, man, Biff is mean.
Yeah, right? Biff is such a jerk in such a fun way. Aaron, seriously, thanks for joining us, because and I'm glad this is your first time, because we are massive fans of Prospero Hall. And in fact,
I'm glad he joined us now instead of the beginning
because we talked about this at the beginning of the episode, and I bought this entirely on the basis of the fact that it is Prospero Hall. And we talked about how I have no history with Trapper Keepers. Somehow they didn't exist in my past, and I bought that, and I loved the game, and you and I are in agreement that as soon as we see anything from Prospero Hall as a company, we definitely keep it up. I'm excited about the Goofy movie game that was announced recently.
Announced that you went crazy.
Man, I almost lost it, because that's one of my favorite Disney movies of all times.
I do have to say I'm looking forward to the new Villainous expansion, because it's starting going to the Pixar films.
It has my favorite Disney movie of all time.
The Black Cauldron?
No, Sword in the Stone. It has Mad Madam Mim. Mad Madam Mim. I cannot tell you how much. Anyway, so number one.
Let's get into your number one before we can finish the podcast part of it.
So that is, we are geeking out extra hard right now. All right. No, well, thank you. If you rewind back to the previous part of the episode, you'll know how excited I was after I played it. It was really cool.
Please don't, because I didn't have nice things to say about Cairo.
Well, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. But that's okay. I like Cairo just fine. So, Aaron, please subscribe and hang out with us more often. So, my number one is a game that was designed by a good friend of the podcast, I3.
Oh, that didn't even make my list. That was on my short list, though.
Bullet Heart specifically.
Yeah.
I backed it on Kickstarter. I tried a tabletop simulator version long before it was released. He did a great job. He did all the graphic design on it, the design work on the game itself. It stands true, and it's a testament to how talented this guy is. He is really solid as a designer, a developer, and everything else. So, bravo to our friend Ithri. You are awesome, and Bullet had to make my list.
It's a phenomenal game. I like the pulling out of the bag, and like just how fast paced it is, because it plays 15 minutes. It's not a long game at all, but it's phenomenal.
During one of our game nights a few months ago, in fact, I brought it to demo a bit, and while they were playing with it, I convinced the people who were working at the shop to play over our speakers the soundtrack for Bullet, because why not? That's amazing.
Yeah,
and they dug the music too. They put it on their normal one. So in Creative Chaos, no, you don't need to play more games. You play as many games as you think make sense, but play more. But this is such a great game. So those were the 8 games that I've really enjoyed this past year. I mean, there's so many more on top of that.
Yeah. Played a lot of games. Like we mentioned some. You mentioned some. Like Bullet would have made my list if I thought about it. I kind of skimmed it over.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah. In fact, I think it's one of the ones that I lost.
Okay. And so...
Okay, we're fine.
That might be why. All right. So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks to everybody. Let's see if I can remember who joined us on our podcast tonight. We had Creative Chaos. Thank you for tuning in. Poncho, thank you for tuning in. NPC Aaron, you're awesome. So Very Wrong About Games. Who am I missing? I know I'm missing a few. There was a few people who joined us in on this podcast. Illuminous, yes. Thank you for joining in. We want to thank you all for tuning in. And if you ever want to join us on a live episode, you absolutely can.
And watch his ADD distract me in the entire episode.
Absolutely distract him in all the best ways possible. and join us and join in on our live conversation. We love interacting with the people who are watching our episodes. You guys make it awesome. Join us at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames.
As well as all video re-uploads can be found on YouTube at Everyday Board Games 2020. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on that platform. Subscribe if you're not, like the video, and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject. As well as all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, and Podbean.
And if you ever want to reach out to us directly, and like we mentioned at the front of the episode, we were giving away a contest, which so happened the original was designed by Prospero Hall. Hint, hint. We're giving away a copy of that from previous episodes. By all means, go back and listen to those episodes and get them in before March 11th.
March 12th. Remember,
March 12th. My apologies. March 12th, Saturday. Get your contest entries in, and of course, if you're subscribed to us in all different ways, you could do so. But if you want to contact us directly, tell us your thoughts on it, or even just say hi or give us ideas for future episodes, join it or email us at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com.
As well as you can get in contact with us on our official Twitter account at EBG Podcast.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in to Everyday Board Games. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day's a good day for board gaming.